This is Undaunted.Life, a man's podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Let's get into it. All right, guys, as you know, all week we've been having different guys from the Dominion program come on here and kind of talk to you a little bit about their experience, why they joined the Dominion program. And again, if you're not familiar with the Dominion program, if this is the first episode you've listened to, this is a coaching program that I've founded and that I've created because guys had consumed so much Undaunted Life content. Right? So they've listened to hundreds of podcasts. They've read the devotionals. They've done all the things. And they were like, Kyle, I want more. I want to go deeper. I want to have a group of guys that I can go through this type of content with because I want to be equipped to push back darkness. And so today on the show, we've got Justin Booth. He is a member of Team One. And so Justin, welcome to the show. Don't be nervous.
Thanks, man.
It's good to have. Yeah, it's absolutely great to have you. So you were one of the first people that joined Team One. But before we even get to Team One and Dominion, let's just do some basic work. So what's your age? What's your location? What's your profession? Let's just kind of set the standards there.
Sure, man. Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm 45. I'm in Indiana, and I'm a project manager by trade, so to speak. Okay.
So what kind of project management do you do?
So I do work for a pretty large company. We launch new products all the time. So some of these are 3-4 years in development. So I'm kind of in charge of the team that considers all aspects of that and what it takes to take a new product to market.
Okay. Very, very good. Okay. I can even remember, Justin, as you're talking, I can remember going back all the way to our first meeting. I remember talking to you and I'm just seeing where you're at now with everything. It's just very interesting. So let's just start basic, Undaunted Life. There's a billion podcasts out there. There's a ton of different things that present themselves as men's ministries or whatever that means. But how did you find Undaunted Life and why in the world did you keep listening to us?
Hey, that's a great question. So, I have never really spent much time in podcasts. It just, if I had time to throw earbuds in or whatever, it was probably music, right? Music just means a lot to me. But since 2018, have really been on call it a maturity journey. I don't know what else to call it really. And I joined a local chapter of what's called Fight Club, and it's men's ministry discipleship. It's trying to get men to be more intentional. And we were doing a book study, and it was a 10-week thing, and it was awesome. But then in the summer, it's kind of like, well, what next? And someone was like, hey, check out this devotional about building a manly, godly, manly foxhole. And that was you, brother. And I was like, who is this guy with this metal intro music? And, what is this? I wanted to know more. So, you got 2 or 3 devotions out there on the YouVersion app. So I checked them all out, and that led me to your podcast. And so I started kind of devoting some more time around that somewhere around 5 years ago, and, checking you out and keep listening. Honestly, to keep listening, it's because at this stage of my life, I really I've just found a deeper appreciation for truth being spoken into me. I mean, if I rip open the Band-Aid, Kyle, and go all the way back to I was a man in the house when I was really young. Dad left, and it's kind of, you're coming into your teenage years, and I just, having that strong voice of speaking truth into you, come alongside you. That's what, when you talk to authors, when you talk to other guys about what it means to be, a manly guy, a godly man, I just wanted to hear more about that and doing my best to put it in practice.
Okay. I love that answer. And I'm obviously familiar with your background, things like that. But if we can dig into that just even a little bit further. So I've talked to a lot of guys, and even there are some guys that I know very, very well personally, that at some point before they were ready, and certainly before they were of age, they had to be the man of the house, and they had to kind of absorb the role and kind of do the responsibilities of what that means without being equipped to do so. So, I mean, there's a big gap between being a teenager taking over for the house and being in your mid-40s and joining the Dominion program. And so what had you tried to do to try to learn in that moment, or try to mold those things even into adult years for even your own family so that they wouldn't have to experience that same loss, I guess, that you felt as a teenager?
Well, that gets into some deep stuff, but I guess I don't know what else to say, but, I was saved at an early age, had a beautiful Christian mom. Most of my education was actually done at home. And so when, it was actually a science class, right? Talking about the vastness of the universe and just, God hung the stars and, light years away and what all that meant. And yet he knows the number of hairs in your head and how special you are to him. It was literally my sister and I, we both went off on our own directions, didn't compare notes. We went off and just, prayed to receive Christ at early. It was 9 for me, a little younger for my sister. And I'll just give glory to God for the level of energy and kind of learn as I go, adaptability, if you will. And so things I could do, right? I did have, I sought out other men. I worked for a construction company or a guy who built houses, and he just taught me so much, not just how to cut and measure a 2x4, but, that level of integrity. And so I things like don't leave trash on the work site and things like that, just a really godly man. And so I look for those. And so the things in the doing and all that, well, again, to go very personal here, what led to my father being out of the house was a long line of men in my family that were not faithful to their wives and had multiple marriages. And I did not want that for me. And so I took becoming married to my wife and starting a family. I took that extremely seriously. And it was at a men's event where I just remember being able to put a name for it. Like, God is calling me to be a chain breaker, chain breaker of men in my family who have done that. But in some cases, Kyle, that's just the minimum requirements. I talk about this maturity journey, right? And, hey, honey, I'm home. I didn't cheat on you today. That's like minimum requirements, man. My wife and my family needed a lot more from me and deserved a lot more. So that was like in this time frame of just growth and trying to be more intentional, getting back in the Word and learning and being equipped, and your podcast, other books and things. I'm not a recreational reader, Kyle. So, books on your 100 books that every man should read. Some books on there I read. So others that were that recommended to me by a pastor or somebody or a guy in my fight club. I tried to put into practice the things I'm reading, really getting down to the nitty gritty, like this morning, working on my relationship with my wife, working on my physical body, keeping myself, ready to provide and protect, and then spending that time with the Lord and in prayer and in His Word. And so that's where the equipping comes from. The example I did not have, and trying to a little bit learn as I go, but hopefully maturing into a man that God wants me to be.
Absolutely. I appreciate you getting into that detail. And so let's talk about the Dominion program. And so obviously with Dominion, this was not something that we put out there publicly initially. I sent some, strategic emails to a strategic group of people, just kind of ferreting out like, okay, is there any interest in something kind of sort of like this? Got a lot of response. And then it's like, okay, well, let's answer some questions for me, hop on a Zoom call. Let's just kind of talk through this. And I kind of gave you, hey, this is what the program is. This is why we set it up. Here's the type of guy that I'm looking for. And so for you, we'll get into the program, but like, what was it about the program and just how I pitched it that was even interesting to you?
Well, for us Team One guys, you made no secret of the fact that you were getting us going. The element of doing what you do with Undaunted.Life, that vision, you were trying to just carry that on into a personal and kind of expanding role, make it more real to guys who would join the program. But beyond that, you had the vision, obviously, but you had you were not secretive of the fact that you really didn't know where this was going to go exactly. And so for us Team One guys, I started with this cryptic email of, invite, would you be interested in something that sounds like this? And I'm like, well, if it's coming from Kyle, yes, because I know at least he's speaking God's truth and trying to equip men. So yeah, I bought in because again, I'm on this journey, my walk with the Lord. I'm looking for, leveling up, right? I want to be that next level guy, next level child of God, next level husband, next level father, right? So I was looking for, another challenge. I don't mind taking on challenges.
Hey guys, real quick. Very early on in Undaunted.Life, I knew I wanted to partner with a meat delivery service, but I didn't know which one to do. So I tried out several different ones, and here's the thing that I found out about some of the most popular brands that you've heard of before. These are people that are sending you stuff that is produced here in the United States, but every single month you might be getting beef from a different farm. And so one month your box may be full of amazing beef, and the very, very next month you're going to get stuff that isn't up to snuff and stuff that you don't want to feed yourself or your family. And so I wanted to partner with a farm, with an operation, with a cattle producer that is giving you the same high quality beef every single month. And that's why I want you to use the official beef delivery partner of Undaunted Life, Primal Beef. Primal Beef is a cattle operation owned and operated by Sean Glass. He's a retired Navy SEAL that partnered with Jocko Willink, yes, that Jocko Willink, to launch Primal Beef. So what makes Primal Beef different from the other beef delivery companies? It's a combo of the following. It's all American Black Angus cattle. The beef comes from one farm, and that's in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. The beef is all natural, no hormones ever, no antibiotics ever, no mRNA ever. After slaughter, the entire carcass is dry aged and then hand cut by artisan butchers and then flash frozen to ensure that it maintains tenderness, marbling, and flavor. And here's another cool thing. For every box sold, Primal Beef donates meat directly to a member of America's Special Operations Forces through the C4 Foundation. So you can take pride in knowing that your purchase will help put literal food on the table for America's finest warriors. Are you salivating yet? If not, it's probably because you're a communist. Don't be a communist and try Primal Beef out today by going to www.primalbeef.com. That's primalbeef.com. Use the promo code Kyle to get $25 off your first order. Again, that's primalbeef.com. Promo code Kyle, Kyle, to get $25 off your first order. Okay, and so you jump in, and yeah, like it's kind of the running joke of Team One, to where it's like, hey, do y'all realize y'all signed up for something that didn't technically exist? I mean, it existed, but it was very nebulous. And then obviously we've gotten into several more teams since then, and now we're launching like even more teams. It's kind of an insane thing to see how many teams that we're looking at doing now into the future. But let's talk about your experience with the program. So, what value has the program brought to you? What were some ahas that you've had, or any connections with some of the other guys? Let's just kind of go through a little bit of that.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. So the value, getting to spend time with you, Kyle, picking your brain. You've gotten us connected with other people that to help me and the team. When I say us, right? Really, really go deep. Ask a lot of questions, clarifying questions. Some things we know, but it helps so much when the guy who spoke it or the guy who wrote it is able to put a little more color around what they were really going for in that. And so all of us, I think, have had some deeper level of understanding of the content we've been consuming, whether it be your podcast or someone else that you've had on the show. We go off and listen to them and deep dive them. That's certainly one level of, again, just maybe call that head knowledge. Some ahas, with most things in life, man, if you want something out of it positive, it is directly, relates to how much you put into it.
That's right.
And so the guys and I, we meet without you, so we can talk about you a little bit.
Behind my back, like a bunch of jerks. Yeah, I know what y'all are up to.
Yeah, that's right. But no, we connect. We do physical challenges. Hey, we're this month we're going to do who can do 1,000 burpees in a month. But we're reading Matt Chandler's Explicit Gospel book this month. Just something to challenge each other. Have something to connect on through the app or through text messages. Another aha, Kyle, is the Dominion team. The guys in your team. A great group of guys. Love them. God-fearing. Just that like-mindedness of trying to be better for God's glory in our work, in our family life, which is, of course, most important, and then just that daily walk with the Lord. But they're never going to be my foxhole guys. So that aha of, I love them like brothers. When we got to meet up, it was bro hugs all around, and then it was, teasing each other and praying for each other and these great things. But geography is an important part of your foxhole. So that realization of, I love them, they're brothers now, but they just can't physically be there for me. I'm not going to have them, maybe a special trip or something like that, but they're not going to be over once a week at the around the dinner table. And like you talk about, when you've got that level of accountability and vulnerability with somebody who can call you out and say, Justin, you're a little bit of a jerk to your wife the other night. Did you realize the tone you just had? Hey, when you shoot off your youngin over there, you kind of crushed them a little bit. That level of vulnerability, right? That's what we need to replicate as Dominion men. We need to replicate on that local level. Take what we're getting from the program and put it into action on that local level.
Well, and it's really good that you put it in that frame of local level, because that's also part of the thing. Is because Justin, I was going around doing these speaking engagements, or these people would reach out from all over the country and all over the world even, and they were talking about things in their local community, and it would be everything from, hey, is there a man-friendly church in who's it's Montana that I should go to,
Yeah,
or
right.
who should I be reaching out to? Do you know any other guys in my community? It's like, well, no, man, like that's you. And so this was part of the get out from behind the microphone to a degree and kind of get into the muck and get into like the dirt of your area. Because the thing is yeah, I could expand the show. I could pay for more advertising. I could like do all these different things to do that. But it's like, I need y'all pushing back darkness where you live, right? It's kind of like when I go speak somewhere and I tell people all the time, I've kind of made it a joke, but it's like my style is burn it down and walk away. So if you invite me to your community, to your church to do a speech, I will go in there and I'm trying to throw incendiary devices all over the place to try to just light these dudes up a little bit, but you got to be ready to deal with the ashes at the end and figure out how to get these guys engaged, discipleship, guys that become Christians, like starting their discipleship and sanctification process, all of that, right? Like kind of helping those guys be on that journey. But hearing me talk about pushing back darkness on my show is one thing, but you doing it in your household, in your business, in your community, in your congregation, that's where this actually teases out. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely right. That's where some might call it the ripple effect. That's where it really comes into play. And, we've got to be not just hearers of the word, doers of the word. And I mean, just the other night, right? I had a long drive home. We were out of state, nice weekend, and family goes into unpack the van mode, which is fine. It's a logistical thing. And I'm getting load number 3 or whatever. And the wife comes out and, the little ones are already fighting with each other. It just must be something. And then I remembered that quote. I was like, am I going to be the thermostat or am I going to be the thermometer in this moment? And Kyle, I'm not saying this to brag, but I just knelt down behind the minivan and said a quick prayer. And I said, I'm putting this into practice. It was a good weekend. I'm not going to let this go sour. I don't care what attitudes are going on. I'm going to go back in, play it Mr. Calm. And hey, we're going to take care of what needs to get done, but this isn't going to turn, the evening, to the bad. I'm not going to let that happen.
Bro, literally last night, my wife's using my own quotes against me. She doesn't even listen to the show because it's dangerous. It's dangerous if you listen to the show. But literally last night, I can't even remember the circumstances, but she goes, babe, I need you to be the thermostat right now, not the thermometer. And I was just like, how dare you? But also you're right. So I didn't really know exactly what to do in that moment. So I just decided to humble myself and become the best thermostat I could be. But yeah, those are just those little nuggets throughout y'all's interactions with each other, our group interactions. And again, the program has evolved quite a bit from even just the first things that we were doing. So a lot of stuff that y'all are doing is not what a lot of these future teams are going to be doing. A lot of stuff is improved. There's even more content and all that stuff's there. Again, guys, it's Undaunted.Life/Dominion, Undaunted.Life/Dominion. You got to get your applications in now. We've already got people that are signed up for the program. We got a limited number of stuff that we're looking at. But as a way to just wrap up here, Justin, anytime you get into something like this that requires an investment of time, an investment of your personal resources, an investment of almost, I don't want to make it too grandiose, but it's a soul level commitment to something if you really want to get something out of it. Because, you get out what you put in to a degree. What would you say to any guys right now that are on the fence either about applying, you can put an application into anything and not follow up on it. Yeah. But those guys that are like, man, I think this is that thing that I needed. I think this was that thing that I was praying for that God's now showing me. I think this is that thing that's going to, give me the kick in the pants or whatever. What would you say to the guy that's on the fence and just hasn't quite jumped yet?
That's funny. You've heard me say that phrase, kick in the pants, right? That's kind of where one of the things I might have said in my application about this. Some guys may be able to figure out the time. Some guys may be able to figure out, the financial investment. Some guys may be able to figure out, how to read a book. But you mentioned the soul, and that's what connects that all together. And for me, jumping in some level of not knowing what the program was, the investment, what your expectations were. I'm fine with high expectations. You met those clear, but you said some are going to evolve over time. But that connecting of time, resources, what it means with the quote unquote meet your expectations, meet the expectations of the team member. I see that as that's a full body commitment, if you want to call it that. It kind of ties that all together. And so if you're quote unquote on the fence, now you've got to decide, I am in, and I'm going to not, you don't want this to turn into that gym membership you don't use, right? This is, you got to be there all in. And whether it's time with Kyle, time with the team brothers, right? Be vulnerable, be willing to learn. The times that me and some of the Team One guys have had together where we're trying to replicate that pushing back darkness, to take how we've been equipped and roll it out community. Hey, in that group call, I love what you said about that. Hey, can you get with me offline? And do you have a checklist or something I can share? Maybe I can replicate. Yeah. And I know my guys, I know what they'll turn them on. Maybe I can, take sections of your list. And so that equipping comes from, sometimes you need to be someone who is being mentored. You're going to mentor and be held accountable by a peer. And then you got to bring someone maybe more younger or immature. You got to bring them up, mentor them, right? That 3 levels of mentorship. And we get all that in. And the Dominion program is helping me do that. I'm so glad we still have some time left, Kyle.
Well, no, Justin, that's the thing with the program is I have a tendency to control. I like to control and finagle and do different things. And that's I'm just a high control personality. But with Team One, one of the best decisions that I made, and this is, reverberated throughout the other teams that we've had, the more I get out of the way, well, it's not the more I get out of the way, the better it goes. But when I get out of the way, things improve because there's certain things that I am the only one that can bring that to a program. But if I try to micromanage what you guys do with each other outside of our Dominion time, what y'all do with each other and your other interactions, I become the limiting factor. And you don't want to be the limiting factor. You want to be the thing that helps coalesce things together so that it can grow even more. And that's one thing that you guys with Team One have really taken. You've really taken ownership of that, as it were. But Justin, you know the drill. You've listened to a lot of my interviews. You know how I like to end it, but that's all for me. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, man. It's been a privilege, Kyle. Thanks for having me on.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right. See ya.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a positive 5-star review. If you want me to come speak live at your event or on your podcast, just shoot me an email to info@Undaunted.Life. That's info@Undaunted.Life. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook, and check out our website for everything else, including how to donate to keep more content like this coming your way. Just go to www.Undaunted.Life. And as always, we want to thank the band Holy Name for allowing us to use their music for our content. The music on this podcast is their song Perpetua, which is off their self-titled debut album on Face Down Records. The links are in the description. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Remember, keep pushing back darkness, keep forging spiritual, mental, and physical resilience, keep seeking the Lion of Judah.